So in this week's upload, I'm going to answer a commonly asked question that explains why you shouldn't be using Bet365 for your cash outs. In fact, you shouldn't be using any sportsbook or betting app for your cash outs that isn't an exchange. Now, people have commented like this in the past, and this is the reason I've done this video this week, where somebody said, why dislike Bet365 so much? They give you cash out the same as Betfair. I don't understand. So this video is going to answer that. I'm going to explain. You will understand by the end, and it will probably change the way you're placing your bets. If you find it of value at all, then please don't forget to tap the like button and subscribe to the channel down below for future content. So there's a basic reason behind this, which is extremely simple and unsurprisingly, betting firm screwing money out of people. That's exactly why you shouldn't be using cash out functions on any sportsbook operator. That's Bet365, William Hill, Ladbrokes, even Betfair Sportsbook, not Betfair Exchange, okay? So exchanges are very different. So the way a sportsbook or bookmaker, like a traditional betting shop, will make their money is by baking their margin into the price that you take when you place a bet. Very simple, okay? So, for example, there might be a 50% chance of something winning, therefore its odds should be 2.0, but they'll just offer you 1.8. And then the difference between 1.8 and 2 is their margin. Now, when it comes to cashing out, they do exactly the same and apply that horrific margin all over again. In some instances, the margin is even bigger than it was in the first place where you place the initial bet, okay? And the reason for this is simple. You're stuck. You're already in a bet with them. You can't sell it to anyone else. You can't sell it to a different operator. You can only sell the bet back to them. So they get to decide what the price is. And the only thing that's going to stop you from doing it is if the price is that bad. So I'll show you an example on screen in just a second with Betfair Sportsbook, because although this applies particularly to Bet365 and was where the person commented on YouTube there, I can't place a bet with Bet365 anymore because they've restricted my account to the point where I can only place pennies. Which is another tactic that bookmakers often do, which you'll see in previous uploads on the channel, which are worth watching because it shows you the process of how a bookmaker identifies somebody who's shrewd, places value bets, is actually beating them, and then restricts those betting accounts. So let's move over to the screen. I'll show you an example between the two in layman's terms for anybody who's not aware of what I'm talking about here. So just to reiterate what I was saying, Bet365's platform is extremely similar to Betfair's sportsbook, okay? They operate in the same way, it's different to the exchange. Bet365 doesn't have an exchange, okay? With an exchange, you and I place bets against each other because we're both logged in. Winner takes the money, Betfair takes a tiny percentage commission from that transaction. Sportsbook, large margin baked into the odds before we start. So if we look at this race coming up at Southwell, five past, you can see we've got the second favourite here, Sociologist, is 5-2, okay, on the sportsbook. If we go over to the exchange, very similar price at 3.65. I'm simply going to place a £10 bet on both of those almost simultaneously. So I've placed it on the exchange, place it with the sportsbook. Okay, and we're on. So what we've got here is a £10 bet on Sociologists on the exchange and a £10 bet on the sportsbook. They're betting on the same thing at very similar odds. The exchange was 3.65. The sportsbook is 5-2, which is 3.5. But what I want you to see is the difference in the cash out figures that are available on these two bets. Bearing in mind that they're the same bets, even with the same provider, just under the different tabs, okay? And like I say, Bet365 only offers the same as what a sportsbook would. So we can see Sociologist here is, well, in fact, it's shortened by 0.5 of the price. So if we go to cash out our bet, then surely we won't win any money, we won't lose any money, nothing's changed. We just want to sell our bet back to the Betfair Sportsbook at the same price we bought it at, because they're pricing it at the same price. Except if you go to the cash out tab, you can see here straight away, they're only offering you £9 and 4 pence cash out. So you've lost 96 pence on a bet that hasn't changed in price as far as they're concerned. So that's what happens with a sportsbook. Now, if we go over to the exchange tab, the price has, okay, it's shifted a couple of tick increments. It's now 3.5. If we go to place cash out, we're actually 28 pence in profit. So I'll take that. So it's unsuccessful. I guess the liquidity is not available at that price. Let's click again. The odds have changed. This is great. Okay, cash out was successful. So we made 13 pence for the 2 tiny tick increments that were difference on Betfair's exchange, and will now be charged their commission rate on that 13 pence profit, which is absolutely minimal. Difference being, if we go back to the sportsbook, well, the price is now offering us £8.92 cash out for a bet that has barely even changed. In fact, it hadn't changed previously. I'm going to confirm that there just for the sake of this example. But the point is clear. There's a massive margin baked into a sportsbook's odds. When you use a cash out, they bake in that margin again. And in some instances, they offer you a silly price because they know you've got nowhere else to go. The difference being, on a betting exchange, you're betting against me, I'm betting against someone else, we're all betting against each other, and they take a tiny amount of commission difference between the two. And that's why if you're gonna cash out, you should only cash out on an exchange. You'll get better prices, better value, and you won't get bent over. Okay, that reminds me of some of the big stories that have been in the press in the past where somebody's had an accumulator, and a lot of people you'll see in comments on social media, if you didn't understand it previously, will say, well, you should lay off this accumulator bet on an exchange because they know that you'll get a good cash out price, or you'll get the best cash out price you can for that current liability or exposure. Difference being, on a sports book, if you hit the cash out button, they're gonna have you right off. Of course, you may still win some money, and it may look great, and you may think that you're a winner there. But what they've really had your pocket there. So that is the difference between cashing out with a sports book and with an exchange, and that's why I would not advise using a sports book such as Bet365, William Hill, Ladbrokes, or Betfair Sportsbook 2 in future. So if you do want to win some money and beat the odds, the only way to do it is, as explained in the previous video on this channel on the top of the end screen here, or also if you want to understand why they restrict winners, as they have with me previously on Bet365, see this video about the process down below. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.